So I came across an ad recently, an advertisement, and it's for a surrogate company called, and yeah, for real, a surrogate company called Tammuz Family. Yeah, this advertisement recently popped up, and it's a surrogate company called Tammuz Family. The ad featured a gay couple with a couple of babies, but that's not as bad as that is. That's not the point. That if you, a lot of people may not register this. They may not connect the dots. The interesting part of it is the name of the company itself, Tammuz. Tammuz, if you don't know, Tammuz is part of the unholy Trinity from Babylon. The unholy Trinity is Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Now, if I talk about Semiramis all the time, I don't talk about Nimrod and Tammuz very often, but they are just as important. Semiramis, if you don't know, Semiramis is mystery. She's mystery whore of Babylon. She's mystery religion. That's who she is. That's it stems from Babylon, comes from that time, and she's part of that. But Nimrod, I've talked about him a lot during the One World Religion series that I did, and I also brought him up during the Commonwealth Games because they basically did a giant show with Nimrod, Semiramis, and the Tower of Babel and everything that they did. Well, Tammuz is the illegitimate child, pretty much, from Semiramis, who Semiramis claimed to be Nimrod reincarnated. Basically, when Nimrod died, Semiramis went and got pregnant, and she had Tammuz, and she claimed that Tammuz, this child, was Nimrod reincarnated. Basically, Tammuz is the representation of the Antichrist. And this surrogate company named themselves after Tammuz. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, Tammuz, that goes to the Mesopotamian god and whatnot. I'm not going to go in depth on this. Check out the One World Religion video. I've got it on my channel. It's a 2-part series. It's the first one I talk about this stuff. I'm not going to go in depth like that, but like I said, people think Tammuz, Mesopotamian god. All of the religions out there, all of their gods, all of their symbols, all stem from the unholy Trinity and the Tower of Babel in Babylon when that first took place. Everything stems from that. And that's why Semiramis, she's mystery, she's mystery religion, one world religion, she's part of it, because it all comes from that. Everything is going to everything comes from there. And Tammuz, yeah, you can talk about being the Mesopotamian god and whatnot, but it all goes back to Tammuz as representation of the Antichrist. And like I said, Tower of Babel, that was the first thing to come out. If you look at all the different temples and whatnot, pyramids of Egypt, you take it to, I talk about all that stuff again in the thing. It all stems from that. Everything stems from that. And if you look at the Catholic Church, because the Catholic Church, that's what's going to lead the mystery, the one world religion in this. That the Catholic Church, that's why I warn heavily of them. But if you look at Mary, and you look at like the paintings and the statues and whatnot, it's always Mary and what they say, baby Jesus. Well, if you look at it, Mary usually has the thing on her head, this glowing crown. She's Semiramis, and baby Jesus is Tammuz. It's one world religion and the Antichrist. That's how it goes. And so this surrogate company, I just found it very interesting. They call themselves Tammuz Family. They're basically talking about a child with Tammuz. It's too on the nose. It's very interesting. I mainly bring this up because there is a lot of symbolism, a lot of representation, a lot of this stuff out there that if you don't know, you'll pass right over it and not even recognize it. I guess you could say it's a blessing and a curse. But I see this stuff everywhere. I mean, I see it all of the time, whether it's the divine mystery type of thing. I talk about that in the second One World Thing, Feminism denomination. I talk about this stuff, but it's the feminism movement is firmly involved with mystery religion. I talk about how it's biblical that when, God's structure, God's family order, we are equal in the eyes of God, but we have different roles. And when we start transferring roles and we start taking roles that we're not supposed to, you start getting not only this genderless thing, which I talk about all the time, specifically with the modern church, with their worship leaders and how they do it. You can't tell who's who, and it's a blending of genders and all that stuff. But you start taking over roles, like I talked about. I can't remember the exact passage, but God puts judgment on people when women take the leadership roles. That's why we talk about in church, women aren't supposed to lead men, and there's specific roles for everything. That's God's order. But society has now twisted that, and it's put it in this thing of, well, the men are keeping the women down type of thing. Well, as soon as women start taking over roles, or roles that they're not supposed to, men start cowering to that. Societies start to fall apart. And if you look at what's going on around the world nowadays, societies are falling apart because of it, because we have rejected the correct household order that God has established for us. And so the feminism movement, you start seeing that stuff everywhere. And if you don't know about it, or you're not paying attention, you'll just pass right over it as some political thing. And that's the other aspect of, as far as the days of deception, that I like to talk about a lot too, is a lot of this stuff gets passed off as a political issue when in reality it's a spiritual issue. This whole feminism movement is part of it. The gender stuff is a part of it. The racism stuff is a part of it. It's all become a political issue when in reality it's a spiritual issue. And as far as the racism thing, it's not what you think. I talked about that. What was it? I did a clip video I talked about how Hillsong was doing it. You can go and find that if you're interested. But all this stuff, these are actual spiritual issues. And it's a part of this unfolding. It's a part of this unfolding of mystery religion. It's about sucking everything together. It's about unifying.